Wrong button.
No, 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 no. Ah. All right. So has this ever happened to you? You start an arc and you just can't seem to get a foothold. You just can't seem to survive. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Ah. And again. Then sometimes you just spawn right in, and then there's bad stuff right there. And you just know it is only a moment until, yep. No, that's coming, that's coming, that's coming. No, 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 no. I just want to be friends. When can I ride you? No. Ah. All right, well, let's discuss what we're doing wrong here and how to actually get a foothold. We'll be doing this on the center map, but I would recommend that if you are the first time playing in, I would recommend you start on the island. I would recommend that the first time that you experience playing Ark, you play it on the island. The island is the base game. All these other maps are just expansions to it. So this right here is set up for the prime survival experience, and everything that you need will be here on the island. All right, you could also start on Ragnarok. Well, I would recommend on the island, and then eventually, once you get the feel for the island, you can go to Ragnarok, Valgero, or the center. These other maps, once you beat the island, or you get pretty comfortable with your survival experience, move on to Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is a whole new beast when it comes to its difficulty level, and so is Aberration. Extinction is another one. It's not nearly as hard to start as Scorched Earth and Aberration, but it is a bit of a challenge, and I would recommend not doing these until you've actually spent quite a bit of time on the island and you experienced what it's like. All right, but now you're wanting to get started. Let's hop back in and let's discuss it. Okay, so when you're spawning, there's a few different things that you're going to need to know. The green ones are the ones that you're looking for. The yellow ones, you really don't want to go there. Not for a while. The red ones, stay away from there. Because when it comes around to Ark spawn spots, there are ones that actually say easy, and there's a couple that really do mean that they're easy. But most of them they go from varying levels of hard, harder, hardest, and will rip your face off in a couple seconds. This is the land of dinosaurs. Expect it. All right, so when it comes around to this, we're going to be starting on the center, and we're going to probably be going over here to Tropical Island South right here. Sounds peaceful, right? Let's see just how peaceful. Okay, so even in this screen, I would want to take a look, see what is around me, listen for roars, listen for all sorts of different things. If you hear something hiss, if you hear something growl, get ready to turn and run. Left shift will help you sprint, all right? But I would make sure when you first start that you save your stamina. If you look over here on the right side, you will see this little lightning bolt, which is representative of this stat right here, stamina. It starts at default of 100. And whenever it raises back up, it lowers your food. So whenever you go around sprinting quite a bit, it will lower this. And to raise it back up, it'll lower your food and your water. So be very aware of that, because when your food and your water drain, that means you're going to be suffering lack of that, and then it's going to be draining your health, because when your food or your water gets down to 0, it will start generating torpor, and which will knock you out, and then it will also start draining your health because it has nothing else to drain. So make sure that when you are running around in the early game, that you walk like this without sprinting. That way there you can save that stamina for when something bad happens, and then you can just sprint and get out of there as quick as possible. Also remember, the water can be your friend. If something is aggroing on you and you can't get rid of it, you can jump down in here into the water, and you can generally swim down a little bit lower until the piranha come and get you, and then they decide they want to eat you as well. That's also part of Ark. Get used to it. And now let's try this again. Because one of the things that you definitely need to learn is that when it comes around to Ark, you will die. You will die a lot. That is just part of the game. So you need to get used to it. A couple things that I would recommend is just remember, look at something. If it looks like it eats meat, it probably does. And then remember, you're just a giant meat sack to them. That's it. All right, they're going to eat you, and they're going to enjoy your meat. Yeah, I said it. All right, but yeah, one of the first things you're going to want to do is walk around, grab some berries, grab some stones, make sure that you've got a couple things, punch a couple trees, make sure you get some thatch, make sure you get some wood, and then definitely get a rock. And then if you see a dodo, remember, or don't kind of stray too far away from it. Dodos generally tend to spawn in rather easier spots, and dodos are a very good, easy source of hide. And there's a dillo right there, and a pego, and we just all of a sudden kicked open a rat's nest or a hornet's nest without even realizing it. So now we went from, 0, where it was rather peaceful, to 100. They're going to eat our face if we don't get out of there. But the Pego Mastax right there, they're kind of slower. So if we just kind of sprint a little bit and get away from it, it should be fine. But just remember, while you're running, you can also use K mode to look behind you, so where you don't have to stop and turn around. But just remember, you cannot really control your character other than move forward and backward in K mode. So just be very, very careful with that. All right, once you reach a section of the beach, and I would recommend you stay on the beach. The beach is generally safer than most other places. The term beach bob in Ark, it's there for a reason. All right, so I would recommend that once you find a spot that is generally safer, you go around, grab some bushes, make sure you get some fiber. Because this stuff right here is what you're going to be using to craft your first little bit of armor. Right here at level 3. But we're not able to do that. So one of the first things we're going to want to do, other than the armor, we're going to want to get a stone pick. And I would also recommend your first stat points that you get, either put into health or weight, one of the two, because as you're gathering all these early resources, they're going to start weighing quite a bit, which means they're going to slow you down once you get up to about the 60% mark. That's not a lot of weight, so you want to make sure that you're getting a little bit of weight. But if you find yourself just not being able to take a couple hits from a dillo, definitely go health. But remember, when you pump health, that's also going to drain your food and water, so be very careful of that. All right, so let's get a little bit of weight. And then now let's see if we can actually, there we go. We can craft a stone pick. With the stone pick in hand, now we're going to want to go use it on getting that. And there is our 3rd level. So we want to make sure that we can get a rock here really quick. So we can get a hatchet up and going. And then also, and this is what I mean right here, as by you're getting a point of health will actually drain your food. So right here, when you gain a point of health, that 10 health it just gave you is not filled. So it will drain your food right here as it's slowly regenerating your health. And that's what I mean by that. You don't take damage from having more health. But to regenerate this 10 health that you just gained, you're quickly draining your food in order to regenerate. So make sure that you're eating berries as you go, because they will slowly regenerate your health, and even more slow, regenerate your water. But they will regenerate your water. But since we're so close to the beach, we can come down here and we can drink from this and then wave at the piranha in the distance. And now we can continue to gather a whole bunch of fiber from these, and then some more berries. And then make sure that let's craft that. And then also, crafting a torch is very, very important as well. That way there, we have a little bit of defense against cold weather and stuff like that, because it is important. Which is another reason, once you get your health stat to a stat that you like, and you get your weight stat to a stat that you like, start working on fortitude, because trust me, you're going to need it. If you get hit with a cold snap out of nowhere, and that means that the weather gets really cold, it gets generally 30 degrees Celsius less than what it normally is, you will freeze to death. And then if you have a heat wave where it gets 30 degrees Celsius hotter than it normally is, or maybe 20 degrees Celsius, you will die of the heat wave. So just be careful that you plan accordingly to protect against the weather, which is another reason why armor comes in, because armor has cold resist and heat resist on it. Also, it has armor. So make sure you get these crafted as quick as possible. And remember, the cloth gloves and the cloth boots, they take hide, where these is right here only take fiber. So we can quickly and easily craft those. And then listen. When you see these guys, they may look cute. And when there's just one of them, they will come up to you and they will look at you and they will just kind of be like, hey, what are you? Well, you know what? It's a carnivore and you're a meat sack, but it's just scared. So if there gets to be a second one around here or a third one, they will attack you. So just be careful. One of them by himself is fine. 2 or 3 of them, either kill them or run. Let's get our armor equipped. And then with that, we've already got our other level. I'm going to go with a little bit more weight. And then now that we've got this, we're going to want to go up and craft or learn the spear. The spear is very, very important. And a lot of these sounds, see like this sound from this compy standing right in front of me? Yeah, he's, you're going to learn this sound. You're going to memorize this sound. Make sure you do. It's important because when you hear that, it could be danger. Also, you're going to be learning the sounds of dillos and rexes and raptors and all of that stuff. Next thing we want to craft, though, we want to craft a spear. We don't want to craft just one like I'm doing now. I actually want to go craft quite a bit of these because these things, they generally do tend to break. You only have a couple stabs before they break. Sometimes it'll break on the 1st, sometimes it'll break on the 20th. You just don't know. But generally, if you stab something and it gets pushed back, that is a big plus because you can give yourself a little bit of distance between them. And then another early game source of hide that is amazing, well, it's dodos. Congratulations, welcome to Ark. You are now the reason why the dodos went extinct. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Learn to embrace it. Because they are an insanely good source of hide and meat early game. So you want to make sure when you are harvesting up any kind of body in this game, you want to make sure that if you want more meat, you use a pick. If you want more hide, you use a hatchet. Really simple. We want more hide, so we can go with that. And babies in this game, you can either claim them, which I would not recommend doing early game unless if there is, say, like a baby dodo, you're just going to be dragging this guy around and he's going to slow you down. You might be able to trip him in order so he can feed a raptor for a second while you run away. That is a viable tactic. But, you know, if you're going to be carrying him around and he's cute and everything like that, he's just going to get you killed because you don't want to abandon him. Just leave them alone or harvest them for extra prime meat. Babies in this game give an just absurd amount of prime meat so you can tame things later on. Let's get more wood for some spears so we can make sure we've got quite a few of them. And I want to have no less than 3 of them in my inventory at all times. And also, another one that we want to get up to, we want to get up to level 9 as quick as possible because bolas, these things will save your life. All right, now as we're traveling, we're going to be trying to look for a spot that we can actually call home. This seems to be a rather safe spot, but what you want to do is you want to come up, grab just hop on top of a rock and look around just to see what all you can see. If you can look around from a high spot and you don't see too much dangerous things, that means you can actually start building a little shack that will provide some XP, will give you a campfire where you can cook your food at, and it will generally help you out. The very first time you play in here, I mean, it may be tempting to go out and explore the world, and I would encourage you eventually do that. Explore every nook and cranny of this game because it's beautiful, it's just amazing, and it will actually, I mean, it's just a really good experience doing that. But you're not ready for it yet. Remember, baby steps, all right? Yeah, make sure that you craft a small little base. So let's get up with that and let's do that. Make sure that you're harvesting up a whole bunch of thatch. Make sure that you're harvesting up a whole bunch of wood. And make sure that you're harvesting up a whole bunch of fiber because that's what we're going to be using for crafting all of this stuff. And remember, as you're going through and you're harvesting up these things, it does drain your stamina. Every time you swing this pickaxe or this pick, it will actually drain your stamina, which means it's going to be draining your food when it replenishes. Be very mindful of that. But on another note, I would never recommend putting any stat points into food or water. These two are off limits. I cannot recommend putting stat points into that ever for any reason. Yeah, health, stamina, oxygen, even at at the higher levels, weight, melee damage, crafting skill, fortitude. Those are the ones you want to look at. But I would recommend early game health, weight. That's it, and eventually fortitude once you get the weight and the health up. Other than that, just, yeah. And also, once you get your fortitude up, start going with a little bit of stamina. 150 is really good. That way there you actually can sprint a little bit farther. All right, now that we've got a little bit more levels, let's go with the thatch foundation. Let's go with the thatch wall and doorway, and let's go with the thatch ceiling, and then also the doors for that for the doors right here. Now, when you're going through and you're getting this, you go through, you craft, and then you just take these. Just remember, though, all right, and this is another very important thing. See our weight? It actually increased by making a thatch foundation. The weight of the thatch foundation is more than the sum of its parts. Just be aware of that, which is one of the only foundations that that is like that. All the other ones are less than the weight of the sum of all their parts. So in the early game, it is very easy to just go and craft a whole bunch of foundations with going, oh, hey, we're going to build a big base. And then next thing you know, you're completely over encumbered and you can't move. And then a dillo comes up and it eats you. Just be aware of that. Okay, now one of the best ways of actually fighting things in this game, see, like this Pego, he's going to jump at us, we're going to stab him mid-jump. He's going to try to steal something, and now that he's running, he actually stole one of my berries in my inventory. We're going to chase him down because he's going to give us a little bit of time to do this. But you want to make sure that you're paying very close attention to your surroundings while you're doing this, because he can lure you into much stronger and dangerous things. So we want to pay very close attention to that. And then we get our seed back. There we go. Also, remember, even though we are crafting stuff down here, we're crafting a little base. Just remember that we may have to abandon our first shack at a moment's notice. Just be aware of this. Just because you build it doesn't mean it's permanent, and it doesn't mean it's your forever home. It's just a place for you to get situated and actually get comfortable with your surroundings. And the base provides you with a little bit of a break from the outside world. But just remember, that outside world still wants to eat that sack of meat that is sitting inside of that base. And when you're placing down structures, all you have to do is cycle through and you can pick exactly what you want. I would recommend going with some solid walls to begin with. Once you get comfortable with your area, you can start going with a little bit of windows, but things can aggro through windows because this is line of sight based. Once you're inside of here, and like this right here, you're breaking line of sight as long as you have a door on that. All right, now that we've got our little shack, it feels cozy. It's nice. Yeah, it'll give us a little bit of reprieve. Just remember, thatch walls only have 1,600 health, and dinosaurs deal additional damage to structures that they can damage. So that 1,600 health, it will go by very, very quickly when raptors or carnos are chewing on it. So just remember, like I said, you may have to abandon this at a moment's notice. Eventually, you will upgrade to different buildings that actually have more health. The wooden stuff that you get right here at level 11 has quite a bit more health, so I would recommend as soon as you can, upgrade from thatch to wood. And just remember, thatch is only for starting out in the game. Once you upgrade, or yeah, it's upgrade to wood as quick as possible. Stone is even better. A lot of things can't even damage stone structures, so make sure that you're upgrading to stone, at least in the sections where they can actually damage that. All right, and also remember, when you're starting out in this game, that if you want to harvest up a rock, if you want to get more flint than stone out of this rock, you're going to use a pick. If you want to get more stone than flint, you want to use a hatchet. And right now, We need as much stone as we can possibly get out of this, so we're just going to be using a hatchet. Now that we've got that, we're going to craft. We're going to go over here. We're going to learn campfire. This campfire is going to be able to cook all of our food. Now, you can put the campfire on the inside or the outside. You don't have to worry about burning your structure down. This isn't that kind of a game. So we can just put this out here. Just remember, this will be, every time you have to check on this, you will be running the risk of getting aggro. Make sure you put some sort of a fuel source in your campfire. You can use wood or you can use thatch, but thatch is going to be consumed quite a bit quicker. Also, when you look down at this, you can find out exactly how much time you have for the fuel that you put in there. So right now, out of the 15 wood we have in there, we've got 7 minutes, 45 seconds of cook time on this. And this will slowly, over time, cook all of this. Now you can go click into here and it'll say meat right there. Or you can unclick that and it will just show it right here. And it'll have a little timer that goes down right below it as these cook. And I would recommend you have a couple of these on your bar. Now that we have meats, I would recommend keeping a bunch of meat on your hotbar and then slowly letting your food drain a little bit. I know it's very counterintuitive for when you very first started. Hear me out. Okay, so if you can keep your food around 10 to 30%, all right? Say, here, let me go over here and let's punch a tree really quick because that will damage us. All right, let me get some damage by punching a tree here really quick. All right, you see, as we're doing this, it's slowly damaging me. But you got to be careful with this as well. But this is also how you get your first thatch and your first wood. All right, now that we've got a little bit of damage, we come over like this, and then, see, watch this. We will eat a food. And then you notice down here, it gives us a little health buff, and that gave us a brief little bit of healing. It was pretty quick, but it did give us a little bit of healing, about 5 to 8 right there off just one meat. That way there, but it also filled up our food. Once you have your food completely full, it will no longer give you that little bit of healing. It'll just give you the food, and that's it. So what I always recommend people is keep your food between 10 and 30%. That way there, if something comes up and takes a bite out of you, you can eat a couple of the food on your health bar to get a little bit of a health potion that will help you out in a pinch. It won't heal you completely, but it will give you that little bit to stay in the fight or to run away a little bit longer. And also, remember, when things are chasing you, say if they're biting on you, if you jump, you actually get a little burst of speed by jumping, but that drains your stamina pretty quickly. So if you're running from, say, like a raptor or something like that, and it's biting you, try jumping. See if you can. If you're able to, jump and then get out of there and then get into some sort of a water situation like this and swim down, because they generally will not like to go below the surface of the water. I don't know. It's a whole dogs don't like to get their ears wet kind of thing. I don't know. All right, but yeah, then you can come down like this and you can actually stab it from underwater. But just remember, your oxygen is draining while you're down here. And if you ever need that little extra bit of experience, just remember, you can craft things, and they will actually give you a little bit of XP. See, just off the spear, we got 3 XP off that. So just remember, you can get a little bit of XP off doing just small things to help fill up the gap. Also, make sure that now that we've got a little shack, we want to learn either a sleeping bag or a bed. A bed is the preferred way of doing it, but a sleeping bag you can drop down super easy, super quick, but the sleeping bags are only one-time use. So once you actually respawn in a sleeping bag, it gets broken. But you can throw them down as you're moving, and you can put them down in just about everywhere that you wanted to. A simple bed you have to place down on a foundation, and it is more permanent, but you can respawn here infinite amount of times. So let's get this up and going. And also, since we were harvesting up those dodos early game, now all we need is a little bit of wood, and we can make a bed. And with the bed made, that actually just gave us our last little bit of level. We'll take this and we'll make sure to remember to put this down in a spot that is not right next to the door or right next to one of the windows, because things can attack through windows. And if your bed gets destroyed, you're not respawning there. But now that we hit level 9, now we can actually start making one of the better items in the game that is actually going to keep you alive. We have to spend our point before we can actually level up. So, bolas. These things right here, make a lot of them have at least 5 of these on your hotbar in the early game. Trust me, it makes a huge difference in staying alive. And we can only make one. And also, you will eventually get the hang of what different dinosaurs are. But also, just remember, because even though it is herbivorous or an herbivore, doesn't mean that it is not aggressive. Like that right there, that is a Therizino. They will just wander around and they'll just be kind of peaceful. But if you get too close to them, they will attack you and they will shred you with their Freddy Krueger-like claws. They are called tickle chickens for a reason. They love to tickle things. All right, now we're just going to kind of, even though he's next to the base, we're just going to leave him alone until he wanders off on his own. Because he generally won't aggro against the base unless we're inside of it and he aggroes on it. But right now, he's just kind of just doing his thing. So we're just letting him walk around. Let the ballerina dance and let him go. All right, now bolas. These things right here, what they do for you is they will stop things from moving or chasing you or running you down. So they can turn a bad situation into one that is very prosperous for you, actually. So say you're being chased down by like a raptor and it's eating your face. If you can either before it gets to you, bola it by swinging it around like this and then releasing it at the opportune time, you can get them locked into place and they'll be stuck there for a little bit. So you can get out a spear and you can either stab them in the face or you could just turn and run, because it'll give you plenty of time to get to either a safer spot or just get away. Another good source of being able to get early game XP is at level 6, you can learn a mortar and pestle, and then also the narcotic. These things right here are very required for a lot of the taming in the game, so make sure you start crafting these things early on. But yeah, just they're another thing that they have going for them is they give you a really good source of XP early game, so where you can just kind of shoot up in the levels really quickly. It helps out quite a bit. And when you are gathering up resources, make sure you're keeping very aware of your surroundings. Like right now, I'm over encumbering myself just where I can get enough stone to make a mortar and pestle, so I want to be very, very aware of what is around me while I'm encumbering myself. That way there, if I need to, I can just drop some stuff and run, or I can just dip into this water right behind me. And there's another level. Now that we've got this, we want to make sure that we go down here, and then at level 10, we want to make sure that we've got a bow. I do not have enough points to learn bow yet, but yeah, I'm going to learn stone arrow. But these things right here, being able to deal damage at a distance is it's huge when it comes to this. Because trust me, if you're up meleeing things and you don't know exactly what you're doing, it's a death sentence. Do not melee things if you don't have to. Trust me. And putting down the mortar and pestle will give you a little bit of a storage area, because it has 24 slots in it, so you can put things inside of it. Yeah, I would not use it as a permanent storage, but early game, trust me, it comes in very, very handy for holding all these things that you're just holding on to. And now we're going to go pick a fight, because one of the things you definitely need to learn how to fight is this right here. It's a Dilophosaur. They will aggro on you, and they will eat your face, which is why you need to learn early on how to deal with them. They're not super hard, but they can be tanky. All right, so what you want to do is, as you're backing up, stab it in the face. It will spit at you, you sidestep that, and then you just keep backing up. And if you need to, you can go into K mode. It's where you can see behind you and then flip back out. Let it spit. And just keep stabbing it in the face. And eventually you'll win. Remember? Pick or hide. Yeah. Do you want meat or hide? But once you get the hang of it, they are rather easy. But early game, these things will eat you, and they will not even worry about it. Yeah. So now that you got your shack, you've got your narcotics being made, you've got your XP starting to go, you've got a little bit of semblance for what you need to do. Well, now you need to start setting your sights on taming your first dino. But that is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to help teach you how to survive before you get that first dino. But in the next natural steps are, one, you get the XP to make your bow. Like right now, I just hit that, so I will go with a little bit of weight. I will learn bow. So where we've got a bow and arrow ready to go. And also, I will be constantly making narcotics. Once I hit Level 21, we'll start making trank arrows, and trank arrows are one of the best ways of knocking out things. Also, remember, there are different things that give torpor, not just trank arrows. There's all sorts of different things. There's trank darts. There's also the shocking tranquilizer darts. There's also slingshots give a little bit of torpor if you can find something, an opportune tame with something trapped, or you can trap something, you can knock it out with a slingshot. Or if it's something like, say, a carboenemus or one of the big giant turtles that are walking around, you can just walk backwards and shoot it in the face with a slingshot and tame it that way. You can knock it out so you can put food on it so you can tame it that way. There are also certain things you can get, a wooden club even. If you bola a parasaur, you could wooden club it in the face and then make sure you're getting headshots and you have enough stuff. You either have 2 clubs or you have enough to repair them because they damage themselves quite fast while you're doing this. But you can knock out an early game parasaur so you can ride it. And the parasaur saddle is level 9. So it's really easy to get those early game. So be on the lookout for those. And yeah, best of luck to you. So yeah, those are the things to keep an eye out for while you are early game and your very first experience on any of these ARK maps. I hope this video helps you out. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. I really appreciate it. If you're new around here, subscribe. And until next time, this is Phlinger, and take it easy, everybody.